Welcome back to WRPL, the podcast where we talk about all the things we are watching, reading, playing, and listening to. My name is Ben.
And I'm Steve.
And finally, it is here. One of our most anticipated movies of 2022, The Batman. We just watched this on Sunday. We were having a little get-together for Steve. I don't know if you wanted to talk about that at all, but...
I would if I remember.
It was Steve's bachelor party, and we figured we'd kick it off with The Batman. 3 hours of comic book movie action fun.
Yes.
I'm so excited to talk about this movie.
Me too.
Again, I know
we talked about it before.
we talked about it a lot, but really want to get into the nitty gritty. I do have a bunch of things I want to talk about, like other shows, other things I've seen and watched and played, but not today. Today is all Batman. We're going to be reviewing the new film, talking about the future of the Batman franchises. We're going to be looking back at some of the old ones, and we're going to rank some of our favorite Batman things. How should we start this? How do you start with such a big 3-hour awesome movie? Oh, yeah. It's awesome. I'm going to just say it right away. I love this movie. I gave it an A. I have very few problems with it. I just had a whole lot of fun.
Yeah, this movie had to do the impossible. And, I mean, I guess you could argue that the Nolan films didn't end perfectly. Mm-hmm. So there was a little wiggle room. But the legacy... So this movie had to do the impossible and live up to, or attempt to not necessarily be better than the Nolan trilogy, but just be on par. Because how would you top something as well received and well loved as the Nolan trilogy that everyone said, like, how is this ever going to be beaten? Mm-hmm. And it's definitely a different interpretation, but it's an interpretation that I love. And I mean, maybe it's just, first viewing, like peak excitement at the moment right now. Maybe after I see it a second time or some time passes, I'll think less of it. But at the moment, I would say this might be the best Batman, or the best film that Batman has made. But I would probably watch the Nolan films more, because this one is not fun.
Yeah, this one's definitely darker and greasier and meaner. My second favorite comic book movie of all time is Batman Begins. I think it's a fantastic movie because it's a Batman-centered movie and,
sure.
and trying to bring some logic to his origin, which I love. So yes, I love Batman Begins, but my problem with the Nolan movies is I don't like Christian Bale as Batman. He's an okay Bruce Wayne, but I don't think he's a great Batman. And for two main reasons. It's the voice and the suit. Especially the cowl. It's kind of gross. And, well, it's the mouthpiece. It's so little. And have you seen Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy?
Bits and pieces.
Okay, well, there's like an alien race that picks them up at the beginning, and they all look like they're wearing little gimp suits, and they're just their little mouths are showing, and that's what it reminds me of. And also the ears kind of point in. It's just it's a bad looking cowl, and so you have this great Batman movie with not a great Batman.
But see, you're talking about two very. I get the voice because that's you have to hear that for long stretches of time in the movie, and there's plenty of people who agree with you. The voice has never particularly bothered me. Yes, it's been parodied a bunch of times, and it's kind of become a joke, mm-hmm. but it's a joke that I like, mm-hmm. and even though I agree with the joke, it doesn't bother me in the movie. And then the cowl thing, if you don't like it, I never thought once that the cowl looked terrible or bad. Like, sure, the mouthpiece could be a bit wider, but by no means would I quantify the Batman character as a mouthpiece and a voice. Like there's other things to that suit, and I think the suit looks good. So I have no problems with those just sound like nitpicks that have ruined a movie for you.
Sure, yeah.
Versus something characteristically or production choice that was just like, oh, this has nothing to do with the character.
Well, and also with the Nolan movies, even though people consider The Dark Knight the better of all them, I disagree. Just the look from one to the other, Batman Begins has a very like coppery gold look to a lot of it.
Agreed.
And Dark Knight is just stark metals and blue. It's just Chicago. It doesn't look like Gotham anymore. And it's just so boring looking. And I think a lot of people forget about it because the Joker and Two-Face are so interesting to look at, and what they're doing is very interesting. And you have like some fun stunts with the with the tumbler and the flipping of the truck, and you kind of forget how dull it looks compared to Batman Begins. But we're here for the new Batman. But yes, you do have to compare them, since that was a realistic take, as realistic as you could. He still had a weird flying machine and was able to outrun a nuclear bomb and stuff like that. But it takes it just another step into reality. He has a normal car that isn't some military grade thing. His suit isn't some weird thing that the military was spending millions of dollars on for like SWAT.
You don't really know. You don't really.
No, but it looks like it's patched together himself. It looks like there's just like bits and pieces to it. It doesn't look like a cohesive, made specifically for a thing. It was like, oh, my sides are a little exposed. Okay, I'll slap some more armor on there. It's a little slapdash, especially like with that symbol.
Right. Well, what I will say too, it looks kind of cobbled together. In the, once again, not to go back to Nolan movies, but obviously we're gonna have to make comparisons. But I mean, in the Nolan movies, they at least attempt to go, okay, this suit can't stop bullets. It'll stop anything but a straight shot or whatever. And then he kind of upgraded as the movies went on, because that's what Batman does. He learns and upgrades. Yeah. Where this one, he was just taking every fucking shot to the chest, multiple bullets. He was taking a lot of damage, and this thing just he doesn't even seem to get bruises from it when he's like popping his shirt off. So this thing is built to last. Sure. So it doesn't seem like kind of the Mach 1 of the Batman suit, if you would suggest that it's kind of a ragtag suit put together. And clearly it's made to stop bullets, but at least it I forget where my train of thought was on that, but anyway.
Anyhow. So let's talk about this movie. Directed by Matt Reeves, starring Robert Pattinson, Colin Farrell,
Zoe Kravitz,
and
Jeffrey Wright.
Jeffrey Wright. Yeah, thank you.
So let's just go back. You want to do characters first before we
talk about
story?
Cast and characters, and then
jump into the main story?
Sure, why not?
So let's start with, I guess,
the man of the hour.
The man of the hour.
Batman.
The Batman. How do you feel about Pattinson as both Batman and Bruce?
I think he is an excellent Batman. He has a great presence, and I think a lot of that is the suit. I'm sure you can put that suit onto a lot of people and it would have the same effect, but he's got that strong jaw and looks amazing. And his voice, it's fine, He's disguising it enough from a normal speaking voice, but it's not that growly, lispy sort of thing that Christian Bale did. I think he was great, and just like when Heath Ledger was cast, that whole, why are you casting this person? And, people comparing, why are you getting the Twilight guy, which I never cared for. I've seen Robert Pattinson in a ton of things, and he's great in it. So I wasn't too...
Yeah, I think he was only, in quotation marks, bad in the Twilight movies. Yeah. Everything else I've ever seen him in, he's great.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, if you haven't seen Good Times, go see Good Times.
Good Times. Oh, I love Good Times.
So I knew... Don't judge on the casting for that. But I did kind of worry about his Bruce Wayne, because he is so youthful looking, and I know this is an early days Batman, but I just didn't get that playboy, gala hopping, womanizing, stupid alcoholic businessman, which isn't part of this movie. That is not, we're not focusing on that Bruce Wayne. And because he's not in the movie that way, I thought his Bruce Wayne was fine. He's still like just a real mopey dude about his parents dying, and he just still hasn't gotten over it. And it's like he doesn't give a shit about the Bruce Wayne persona. So of course his hair, he's not going to cut his hair. He's not going to go out to these fancy things. He doesn't even live in their house anymore. He just like lives in Wayne Tower. It's like this Bruce Wayne just doesn't give a shit. So I'm pretty sure in the next one we will see a little bit more of that. Okay, I gotta, keep up appearances. But
I have a theory for the next movie.
Okay, yeah, and
we'll go into that.
Yeah, we'll definitely get to it.
I gotta say I love Pattinson as Batman. I think the opening sequence of his really solidified it, which is like, man, I fucking love this style and look. Just his narration of being in the shadows, and you see all these people committing like small crimes, and then they kind of see the light in the sky and they get terrified. They're like not going down alleys because like he could be down there.
Yeah.
I really like that aesthetic. And then when he actually does show up to save someone, you know, he doesn't just morph out of the shadows and League of Shadows take these guys down. He stomps his way up the stairs, and like they hear him coming, and when he comes out, he looks cool. I love the suit, and I like that he is not afraid in this movie. A lot of Batman interpretations are, I'm a ninja, I'm an assassin, I hide in the shadows and I pop out when you're not expecting me. This Batman just shows up.
Walks out.
He's
hey,
like,
I'm here.
I know I can beat you, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And then that could be just young cockiness and not getting hurt enough to where you're like, okay, maybe I should rely on stealth a little bit more. But I really liked his interpretation of Batman. But in terms of Bruce Wayne, I don't love his Bruce Wayne. I'm a fan of the Playboy Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
I like the duality of like, here's this dark, broody guy versus the happy-go... Because it's kind of like, you're trying to sell this idea of he'd be the last person to be Batman, where, oh, here's this sad guy who dresses up as a bat. Clearly he must have some money to afford this stuff. Who could do this? Could it be the sad movie guy with a bunch of money who lives in Gotham?
Yeah.
Where like, you know, if Bruce Wayne is out there like dating models and everything, it's like, oh, he would never have time to be Batman.
Exactly.
So I appreciate seeing a different version of Bruce Wayne in this movie, and I like seeing it because obviously there's plenty of rich people who you don't know their names, and you know, who cares? Even though there's the legend of Bruce Wayne in Gotham, but this isn't a Bezos or a Elon Musk. This is just a rich guy keeping a low profile. Which, like I said, is fine, but I like my billionaire playboy philanthropist, Bruce Wayne. So I'm on the Bruce Wayne part.
Okay. Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman.
Thought she was great. I think the quintessential thing that is not... It's both good and bad, but the Catwoman's has just been the sexy anti-hero. And Zoe Kravitz is a very attractive woman.
Yeah.
She wears the suit well, and I loved her it seemed kind of funny that her bike outfit looked like it would be so expensive, and then her mask is just some torn together piece of fabric.
Yeah.
But I liked how simple it was, and the fact that it did look like a cat, and her fighting worked for me and everything. I liked their chemistry together. I thought it worked, and I liked that she wasn't just kind of like a background character. Her storyline directly worked with everything else that was going on in the storyline, with going on with her friend and her relationship with gangsters and the club and the Iceberg Lounge.
Sure.
So everything. I mean, she was probably maybe the weakest part, but I thought she was great. Yeah.
No, I would not say she's the weakest part. I'd say the weakest part. Oh yeah, I like Zoe Kravitz as well. I don't have anything else to add. I'd say the weakest is Andy Serkis's Alfred, but that is no fault to him because he only really has like 4 scenes, so he's not in it enough to really make an impact. But I would say he doesn't really add much of anything to this movie.
Yeah, the only reason I would say he's not the weakest part is because he's used so little. I don't really consider him a part of the movie. He is there to accentuate Bruce Wayne and Batman, but I'm just talking about people who solely have importance to the story. Like Alfred has a little bit of stuff, but
yeah, he's mostly just an exposition.
I'm with you. I'll have more to say about Alfred later.
Okay.
But
so let's say Jeffrey Wright as Gordon.
Probably my second favorite Gordon.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a big fan of Oldman. I think Oldman plays a loving person, a little bit stronger than Jeffrey Wright. Jeffrey Wright kind of seems more grizzled, but this is an even darker version than the Nolan one, so it works. But I'm a big fan of Jeffrey Wright. Everything he's in, he kills it. I think he's a great choice for Jim Gordon. I think he plays the part well. No notes. I liked his chemistry with Robert Pattinson, and I liked that he, in other Batman interpretations, Batman always kind of got to the scene second, and Jim was kind of showing around, where this one, Jim's just like come on,
Come
man.
on
Like,
in.
I'm
Well-
working with these dumb fucks. I know you got this. So
Yeah, that was a really interesting thing to see, because normally it's always, you know, Gordon's talking to Batman, and then a cop will walk in, and he has to, like, turn around like, oh my god, but Batman's already gone, because he has to keep it secret. And this is just like, no, he's helped us so much more than any of you idiots. We're gonna let him onto the crime scene. I didn't take my insulin, because I left it in the car.
do you need to go get it?
Nah, I'm fine.
Yeah, it almost seemed like Batman was kind of like a canine dog or something. And it was just like, oh, here's this special unit thing that I'll bring in, but this dog does their job better than you guys.
Yeah.
And everyone's just like, you're bringing a dog to the crime scene? It's like, yeah, this dog sniffs out crime. You guys don't.
Yeah, he's a drug sniffing dog and like a bomb disposal robot all in one.
Yeah.
He's just that special force battering ram. Battering ram.
Oh, nice.
Good joke. Good
well
joke.
played. Yeah, I look forward to seeing their in future films. I look forward to seeing their relationship grow because it's still very much in its beginning phases. And while they both trust each other completely, Gordon, you can still tell, is like kind of annoyed that he has to rely on this guy, and this guy doesn't have to follow the same rules as Gordon. But Gordon's willing to be like, okay, fine, you're getting the job done.
Yeah.
But I wish it didn't have to be this way.
Yeah. And then our last, I guess, lead. Oh no, I guess we got two more. So let's do Paul Dano. Or actually, you know what? I have always said Paul Dano, but I just watched an interview and he said Paul Dano.
I've always called him Paul Dano.
Really?
I think so. Right?
Oh, okay. Paul Dano.
Paul Dano.
As the Riddler. All right, Paul Dano. Different interpretation of Riddler than we've ever seen. He's always just been like, yeah, like, I'll let you die because of this crazy Minotaur maze that I make. But he was never really was the one to cut your thumb off or wrap you up in duct tape.
Yeah, I really like this version of the Riddler. I have been pitching a Riddler movie for a long time, and I think this is the movie that finally gave it to me. I think Riddler is a very underrated villain in the sense that if you think about the Joker and how chaotic he is and kind of always one step ahead of Batman because Batman can't kind of predict him. Well, Riddler is like that, but a more organized version of it with the riddles. And I like the riddle aspect, and it makes total sense that you would go sort of this Zodiac 7 killer, and it makes total sense. And it's not the fun version, but I think it's the scary, gritty, Dark Knight version, because so many of Batman's villains are these sick, sadistic people who belong in Arkham, and the Riddler has made a case for going to Arkham in this one for sure.
Absolutely. So then our last character, or I'm sorry, last.
Alfred and Penguin, unless you do.
Yeah, we already talked about Alfred.
Oh, never mind. Okay.
But Penguin, yes. I guess also Carmine Falcone. Yeah, I'm not a big Totoro fan.
Totoro's fine.
But yeah, whatever. Well, the Penguin, great Penguin.
You always see these movies where the actor's unrecognizable, but usually it's just they gave him some ugly teeth and threw on some light makeup, and it's fine, but you can tell it's them. Like, if you never said this was Colin Farrell, no one would guess this is Colin Farrell.
No, you'd be thinking of all the Paul Giamattis and things like that of the world. You would never think sexy Irishman Colin Farrell.
Yeah, I really liked him. Just playing this Italian. I don't know if he's Italian. I don't know if he's Italian.
He's pretty nondescript.
What I meant to say is New Jersey. This New Jersey type, which apparently in the comics, Gotham City, for those who don't know, is in New Jersey.
I don't buy it, but whatever.
Yeah. So him playing this chubby, greasy-looking nightclub owner makes total sense. And I like that this was sort of an origin story for Penguin, because he's not quite he has the name because he looks like one, but he hasn't become the head of a crime family quite yet, but we'll see where that goes, especially now we're getting a HBO series about him. But after this movie, I'm looking forward to watching that show. There's more.
Absolutely. DC's really on a winning streak right now. That's like, I know you didn't see Zack Snyder's Justice League, but that's considered a better one. Suicide Squad, Peacemaker, and now this. and it looks the Flash movie and the Aquaman movie should be at least decent. So they're actually
Scene. That didn't work. Cut that. Yikes. No, you can leave it in. Anyway, yeah, it seems like maybe they're starting to realize if you give the people who care about the story creative control, they will make you something at least decent.
Yeah,
James Gunn, they feels like they gave
full reign to do
full reign to
whatever.
do whatever he wanted. Matt Reeves to do whatever he wanted. Zack Snyder, they didn't do that, but then they were like, give him his supercut, and then
Hmm.
that was received better. So I hope this is a lesson
Yeah,
learned for
they actually
producers over there.
uh, someone at Warner Brothers did say that going forward, the DC handled movies are going to be more of a creator controlled sort of thing. And it's like, wow, it only took you, 10 flops of major characters and franchises to realize like maybe micromanaging on a corporate level doesn't work out for your movies. So it's a shame that it took them this long to figure that out. But I'm looking forward to it because I've always been a Marvel person over a DC person, with the exception of a few characters, and Batman being one of them. If this is the start of where the future is going, I'm very excited.
I think after this, assuming this is a trilogy, assuming after this one, they do a new one somewhere down the line, I think you have to go sort of fun, maybe a little bit campy.
Hmm.
After the Riddler story, I've always wanted to see a Clayface story.
Yeah,
But Clayface, it would be very hard to fit in this world
yeah.
realistically. So, I mean, if you can do it, awesome. But I don't think we're going to see Clayface in this
No,
world.
I
Maybe the actor as like a nod, like, oh, this guy.
yeah,
But
Hagen. Yeah, someone with like an elastic face that they can mush around because they're pretending to be Bruce Wayne or whatever. But big clay monster making spike balls with his hands. I don't see how. And
definitely.
I don't really see it in any of these Batman movies where you can put Clayface in, except for maybe the Snyderverse. I think the Ben
Sure.
Affleck Batman in that world is weird enough that you can do something like Clayface and get away with it. But even Tim Burton's or Joel
Mhm.
Schumacher's, it's too weird.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into the story. I love this story because it is a true detective story. We don't get to see Batman be a real detective. In all the other ones, it was always just like shines a light. Oh, look, here's a powder here running through the Bat computer, and then it's like, oh, well, that was a chemical used for matches. Oh, it must be the old matchstick factory. And it's like really simple, like this, like that. And for this one, every little clue. It's like every crime scene had a clue that led to something else within the crime scene, which led to a third thing. Then you move on to your next victim. And there was just so much for him to dig at. And all the clues weren't so difficult that you couldn't kind of figure out, but you weren't going to figure out some of them. Um, but they weren't so bizarre
Mhm.
that it's just like, okay, you had to be a super genius. Like you could really understand how they pieced out how to solve that.
Yeah, like especially with the cipher stuff, you never even got a good look at the cipher. So obviously you're not gonna, and it's a 3M. Like if you're gonna try and figure it out yourself, you would need days to look at
Yeah.
that cipher. So it makes sense they would just breeze through that. But like you said, you're not gonna figure out this movie by yourself.
But compared to like the Batman Forever ones, they're all just like super simple
Yeah.
schoolyard
Uh-huh.
riddles that it's like Alfred and Batman are trying to figure it out, and they're like exclaiming their answers like they're some genius, and it's like these are the easy, these are basic normal riddles that any eighth grader could figure out.
And it's funny that Batman's always considered the world's greatest detective, and his sort of legend, at least comic book wise, is if you give Batman enough time, he'll prepare for anything and take
Yeah.
anything. So he's essentially unbeatable because he's got the best brain, pretty much. But in this one, he fails a lot. Like
Yeah.
he is a detective, but he's working stuff out. He's not. It's not. He figures out just quicker than everyone else and jumps to conclusions. Like, all right, well, that's the right one. He jumps to a conclusion, and that conclusion is wrong
Hmm.
sometimes. And
Yeah, he gets like the grammar wrong.
yeah, and he gets new information and he adjusts. And
Hmm.
by the end, he didn't quite figure it all out. But and even the Riddler's like, I didn't. You're not as smart as I thought you were. But
Hmm.
he's still got the tools to be the best detective, at least at Gotham.
Yeah.
But they definitely he's not just some
super genius who just has all the answers.
Mm-mm.
So I like that aspect too. Because also that wouldn't be very fun watch if
Yeah.
Batman's just like, oh,
Yep. I
got it.
got it all.
So
And I like that the Riddler actually kind of feels like he's working with Batman. Like
hmm,
the clues aren't ha ha ha, come and get me, Batman, if you're smart enough. It's hey, I see what you're doing, Batman, and I like that we could team up and I can expose these people and you can be the vengeance. Uh and
I'm the brain to the bronze essentially.
exactly and it's like Batman's never going to team up with you, but the whole time Batman pretty much helps him. He
Yeah.
gets people killed and he works or falls right into the Riddler's plan. And we talk about, like the Riddler being so smart or whatever. And we'll maybe get to it a little bit later, but he's kind of an idiot as well. He has like answers that he wants right in front of his face and he can't even figure it out. And we'll get to that, but
Okay.
that was a little it was kind of like a fun thing, a
Hmm.
little payoff. You think, oh, he's been got, and then no, psych. Um, anyhow. So yeah, Batman's doing detective work, trying to figure out this serial killer who's preying on public officials. It's a mayor
Anyone,
candidate.
yeah, anyone essentially who was corrupt in a case from the Riddler's childhood,
Yeah.
you come to find out that may or may not have ties to Bruce.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, he's taken down a mayor, he's taken down a police chief, commissioner,
Mm-hmm.
he's taken
A
down
district
a district
attorney.
attorney. He's going after pretty much anyone in a high position of power within the law of
Mm-hmm.
Gotham. He he takes down,
And then his next target is Bruce Wayne because the Wayne family had their fingers in all these dirty little pots. Uh,
or so you think.
yeah. They do in a way.
In a way,
In a
yeah.
way. One thing I thought was kind of interesting, and maybe this is in the comics, but that Bruce's mother, Martha, is Martha Arkham. Has that ever been a thing before?
I want to say yes. I think she might be from the Arkham family, but I don't think there's ever been an interpretation where she's been insane. I mean, with the exception of the alternate timeline where
Bruce gets killed.
yeah, and Bruce gets killed and she becomes the Joker and
Yeah.
all that stuff. But other than that, I I want to say yes, but I could be wrong.
Okay, because I had never heard that before, and I thought, well, that's kind of genius. You have the Wayne side of his life, that's these huge philanthropists and have done so much for the city, and then the other half is Arkham, where all the terrible, horrible people go, and those are the two halves of Batman. The
Yeah,
two people who made Batman are like the foundations of everything that Gotham is and who Batman is, and I thought that was really great.
yeah. Well, we'll have to do some research after
Okay,
this
okay.
because I want to. It's smart. It's really smart.
Yeah.
Also, another thing, this isn't an action movie, really.
No,
Like
not at
we
all.
definitely say it's a detective story, but there's only a few scenes where I mean, there's plenty of action throughout, but it's always very quick, and he's just taking
Mhm.
down low-level guys. There's not some big epic.
Skybeam into the world.
Yeah, I mean, there's a pretty big fight scene at the end, but it's not
Sure.
against the big bad. It's just against some thug
Goons,
gun.
yeah.
Yeah. And I guess the biggest action set piece is the
The
car
car
chase,
chase, yeah.
which is awesome.
Yeah. I think it's and it's also one of the only things that have I don't want to say obvious special effects, but obviously they had to have done special effects for him like busting through concrete tubes with a car. That has to be a special effect where all the punch 'em up scenes didn't seem like you had any sort of digital body doubles or
Mhm.
anything too weird that couldn't have been done on set. So it's even though every movie has special effects in it, you don't notice them in this movie at all. It's such a beautiful and clean looking movie for how grimy and disgusting it is.
Right. Which I think, thank God he did the Apes movies,
Yeah.
at least the last two, because the last two Apes movies are awesome and,
Hmm.
far exceeded expectations at the first one. Because the first one was
Pretty good.
pretty good. Yeah, I really enjoyed the first one, but the first one was like Batman Begins, and then he was just like, okay, well, I'm going to make this movie now, and just
Hmm.
totally darker, more intense, and fully realized characters. And Matt Reeves is great, and I'll see anything he makes from here on out.
Oh yeah.
He's done nothing bad ever since Cloverfield.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
He's got a great track record.
Good track record. Is he ever in line for a Star Wars movie?
I'm sure his name was thrown out, but I don't think he
Hmm.
ever got past the name and phase.
Yeah.
Uh,
Shame.
but
Wish that.
I don't think his vision would gel with the fun family space opera. Let's sell a bunch of toys. Version.
I could see him doing a Rogue One. Something that's an
And
instant
he couldn't
shoot.
do it.
I
I'm sure he's not the top choice at the
yeah.
moment.
I bet they wish they picked him over Colin Trevorrow for episode 9, which obviously he didn't make, but
Well,
whatever.
uh, what else can we say about this film?
I want nitpicks of little things that I think could have changed. So in his first fight scene, he's attacking those kind of like skull paint face paint guys in a subway. Uh, Good scene.
Yep.
Like you said, him emerging from the shadows is fantastic. Uh, but there's a young kid who's kind of being going through an initiation with the gang, and Batman lets him go. I kind of wish he would have came back.
Mhm.
Like if he was in the stadium when the flood is happening and he sees Batman helping people, and so he starts helping people.
Sure.
And it's just one of those things of like inspiring hope of the city.
I can see that being a deleted scene.
Mm-hmm. It just like
it almost felt like they just threw that away.
yeah, it's like they set him up and then we never come back to it. Or even the victim of that first fight, after Batman saves him, he's like, "Oh, please don't hurt me," because everybody's still scared of Batman. If that guy showed up at the end and was able to be like telling the cops like, "No, he's good, don't attack him," or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, they did that stuff with the kids, and maybe they're just worried. Okay, it's just too many people being connected in this span of 6 days.
Sure, but
like, what a chance! Like the city this big, you're going to run into this guy multiple times.
Yeah.
So I get it. I kind of agree with you. It would have been
Mhm.
nice to see that stuff, but maybe because they had the mayor's child aspect of it, it's like okay, since they're bringing him back, and
Yeah.
uh,
Do you think that's Robin?
I mean, there's no evidence to suggest it is, so I'm going to say no. But
And
never-
Gordon never said anything about his wife or kids or anything.
Mhm.
So
I I really want to see Robin brought in, and I don't necessarily need to see Barbara as Batgirl if she can be Oracle or whatever.
she's getting her own show. So
Yeah, but is it connected to this?
I believe it is.
Is it really?
Yeah. I mean, well, the woman playing Batgirl is black. I figured why that's maybe why they cast her, because they have Jeffrey Wright.
Oh, who they?
I don't know her name.
Oh,
No.
okay, I'll look into it.
But like she's gonna fight Firefly, so
Okay.
should be fun.
Neat. Well, I would love to see the Bat family come back into this because we haven't ever had a good version of it. The only version we've ever had is the Chris O'Donnell one,
It's
which Chris O'Donnell's.
it's fine. I mean, he's a 28-year-old teenager,
Yeah.
but he's a fine Robin for those movies.
For those movies, yeah.
And even Robert Pattinson said like, if you're gonna do Robin, he needs to be a kid,
Mhm.
and that's cool. But trying to picture like a legit kid next to Robert Pattinson's Batman seems kind of weird. So I'm hoping they save it for the third one.
Yeah, maybe tease him in the second one and then bring him into the third. I
Sure.
can see that. We'll pitch all this at the
Yeah,
end.
yeah. I mean,
Freaking-
we've had didn't we have like a 6 movie like what if pitch for the Robert Pattinson movies?
Maybe. I know we've done it with Spider-Man a couple times.
I'm pretty sure we did it with this as well.
But so some of my nitpicks. One, obviously, it is so inspired by Seven
Yeah,
that
and Zodiac.
and Zodiac that it just seems like I'm watching the same movie again.
Yeah.
Like scenes almost in a weird way felt beat for beat the same, especially like you catch the guy kind of gives himself up at the end, and it's all there's another secret plan that you did. Like it was, I don't know. It just felt like I've seen this whole storyline play out.
Yep.
Don't be wrong, we love Seven.
Yeah.
Seven's great.
Fincher's
If you-
amazing.
If you're gonna take from something, that's the best one to take from.
Yeah.
But that's just a minor nitpick. I still really really enjoyed it. And I said earlier that it's not an action movie. I would have liked to have seen Batman do one really good take on multiple guys, kind of Arkham video game style.
You say that, and I feel like every action scene, he is taking on multiple guys. He is disarming them, smacking them with the gun, and starting
I think
it.
the last one's the best.
Mhm. The club one.
The club one was fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe you're right.
I mean, maybe if there was some a little more flourishes of like, he's kicking a guy and then he does this crazy triple backflip to do a heel kick for someone else.
No, I guess it makes more sense that Batman's kind of a brawler, so he's
Mhm.
not going to be doing a ton of crazy stunts where it makes sense for Spider-Man to like go between guys' legs. So I retract my statement. It works. I apologize. You're right. But
Any other nitpicks?
nitpicks. I feel like I had more the other day,
Mhm.
and now that we've just talked about it, I've totally forgotten about it. Uh,
Let's talk about tech.
well, we did talk about the kind of tag before the end of the movie.
Sure. This is probably the thing I would say get rid of it.
Yeah.
We did not need this. So after after the Riddler has turned himself in and is sent to Arkham, he meets the Joker.
hmm
Yay, the Joker again. Especially since we have a Joker 2 with Joaquin Phoenix coming out. Like,
Do we really?
yeah, they're making the Joker 2.
Okay.
Yeah. And I always felt like if you were gonna do the Joker, like use Joaquin Phoenix's for Robert Pattinson's Batman. Why can't that be the same world? The Gothams look dirty enough in both of them. I can't see why one can't merge into the other. But here we have another Joker, and I like the actor. He's like, and have you ever seen Killing of a Sacred Deer?
No, but I've seen other movies he's in. The
He-
Green Knight, Eternals. Two of my top 10 of last year.
He's crazy in Killing of a Sacred Deer. What a weird movie. If you can see that, you should borrow it from Nick. And
Okay.
that's it. Fantastic. But he and it's just like with Heath Ledger. Heath Ledger doesn't have a Joker face. This guy does not have a Joker face at all. He's got kind of a more bulbousy nose, and he's just got weird face syndrome. He's just a weird looking dude, and I guess I'll have to wait until we see him completely in makeup and really embracing the character. But I'm just not loving this.
Yeah, it's too little to tell, really. So I have no opinion on it. As a scene, I think you're right. I think they should have cut it. They didn't need it.
Mhm.
I get why, because you got to tease something to bring the people back. But I think if your movie just stands on its own,
Yeah.
people will come back anyway. Especially anyone who saw that movie would go like, okay, like we know this is going to do okay.
Yeah.
Especially because it's Batman. Batman
Mhm.
always does okay. Uh, so yeah, get rid of that scene, and I have no opinion on the Joker. I like that actor, and you do kind of see some weird prosthetic
Yeah,
kind
I
of
don't
stuff,
know
and
what's
you
going on.
can't quite tell if. I mean, I'm not sure if they're trying to like do that thing where the Joker mutilated himself kind of look, or what it is, but we'll see.
Yeah. Um, Now let me see if you would like this. Apparently, there was a deleted scene where Batman goes to Arkham to talk to the Joker to be like, "Hey, there's a psychopath on the loose. Do you have any advice?" Doing like a Hannibal Lecter
Ugh.
sort of thing. And it may have even been like it's a Joker before he's even the Joker. Like he's still Jack Napier or Arthur Fleck, whatever he is before he falls into the vat of acid. Um, would you have liked that to justify this end tag? Would that have been better if they teased it a little bit?
Maybe it would have made this scene better, but once again, I think we would just been distracted with the idea of, oh, here's the Joker
Yeah,
again. And I don't think, and especially if he's not the Joker yet, then it just seems like you're just, then why throw it in?
sure.
I like the idea of, oh, we'll do a Joker movie where the Joker is actually in Arkham the entire time and he is a Hannibal. Like if you want to, if this is where we're going, where okay, this one's Zodiac, this one's Silence of the Lambs,
Yeah.
Joker's my Hannibal.
Mm-hmm.
I could be into that storyline.
Yeah.
So you're kind of doing a Joker movie without doing a Joker movie.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not something I think this movie needed or should have
Yeah.
had. So if that is a deleted scene, I think it was smart to cut it.
Yeah. But I figured cut both of them because if they left that first one in, I think everybody would be like, Joker's gonna show up at the end and do something, and then he never would have, and
Mhm.
people would be like, oh, where's the Joker? It'd be way too distracting. So
Yeah.
they should have just cut it all together. Or if you're gonna have a little scene like that with Joker in prison, cut to another cell and have someone else that could maybe be the Scarecrow and cut to someone else, and maybe it's a big shadowy guy, could be Killer Croc, but I don't know. And like show a bunch of them and make it all vague enough that it's like, well, it could be anybody.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Let's see. Oh yeah, let's talk about tech.
Okay.
Batman's a very techy dude. He doesn't have a whole bunch in this. He only really has like one major crazy tech thing, which are
The contact.
the contact
Yeah.
recorders, which isn't too far off. I figure like we're 10 years away from that. And it just makes more sense than, a button camera or a
What I also found interesting about it is the sort of old look to
Mhm.
it. As I was recording it, almost because I feel like any other modern movie would have just been okay. It's a clear
Mhm.
60K visual on a flat screen TV
Yeah.
that looks beautiful. Where this was like, nope, it's a red eye kind of like you couldn't make out colors, but you could just
Mhm.
make out people.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was still enough to do face recognition and everything like that. And I'd be interested to see what the choice was. Is that like if this technology does exist, is there a reason why it's red? This is just my own thing. It doesn't really matter to the grand story,
No.
but I'm just interested to see why they chose this sort of kind of grainy style look versus your traditional. Oh, it just is perfect.
Yeah.
Picture is clear.
I think if it's just too clear and like, okay, I can believe video cameras in your eyeball, but not at 4K.
At this frame rate, come on.
Let's see. So he doesn't. He uses his grappling hook more to like grab people than actually to
Mhm.
escape,
He does.
but he does. He never throws a batarang. He takes off his bat symbol to cut a wire, which is cool, but
Sure.
never throws a batarang. Uh,
His motorcycle has a bat-like tip,
yeah,
so
yeah.
that front piece, I guess. I don't know what you would call it.
His motorcycle and his car are both like very practical and normal
Mhm.
looking and
Uh,
really cool looking.
I liked his wingsuit escape scene. I
Yeah.
thought like that makes perfect sense of how have we not done. I mean, it's not as iconic looking as your
Sure.
classic winged cape, but in terms if we're just talking realism, this is how people would escape these
Yeah.
scenarios is
Mhm.
flying
Just
swimsuit.
yeah, just the wingsuit.
Yeah.
It kind of took me by surprise. He just pulls a cord and his like suit inflated instantly. And I wonder if that was real or if that was a special effect because that was really cool looking.
Yeah.
Uh,
And then when he pulled the parachute
oh God.
and just him slamming to the ground just looked so painful. And obviously it was because you just see him like limping away.
Uh,
But I like that he hasn't quite mastered
Yeah.
the ability of flight because obviously, like, how often is he going to use that ability?
Yeah.
But it's just like, oh, if I'm ever in a scenario where I need to jump off a building, I got a way out.
But it seems like he was aiming for I got to get between the bridge
Yeah.
and the truck. Bridge, dummy. You're just asking to get pasted.
And if he just knew he couldn't make it, so it was like, okay, I gotta dive down. I don't know. I feel like there was other parts of that bridge where maybe he could have aimed a little bit better, but he was like going for. There's 2 feet above the bus and the bridge. I think I can make it. And
He was showing off.
yeah,
And then I think the only other tech thing he has is like his little shocking gauntlets that he has
Mhm.
in his fingers, which, why wouldn't he?
Yeah.
And most of the time, it's all like he would pull out a taser from his bat belt. I like how everything was just integrated to the suit. Not that it's like so high tech like an Iron Man suit,
Mhm.
but even his grappling thing came like from his wrist.
Yeah.
He didn't pull out a gun. So yeah, let's talk about his suit. He's got like pouches and like arm gauntlet things. It's just so cool looking. I just love his suit.
yeah. The people who make these bat suits really keep outdoing themselves.
Mhm.
I really enjoy seeing what they can come up with. Yeah, I love the suit. I can't believe I didn't see his symbol popping out
Mhm.
until the very end of the movie when he actually did. I was like, that's so smart, of course. Why,
Yeah.
why wouldn't that be the thing? So that was really neat. And yeah, I think that it definitely leaves room for. I'd be interested to see like if there's anything in this movie that you'll see kind of in the second one where there was this scenario where this piece of tech could have come in handy.
Mhm.
Now I have this. Like, have you ever seen those quick? I don't know, like TikToks of the guy who's like, "Did you notice in Iron Man, blah blah blah, because
Mhm.
Tony learns from his mistakes."
Yeah.
Dude,
Oh, like this is why Spider-Man has, Spider-Man has like a self-heating thing in his suit because he was in the snow in Iron Man 3.
Yeah.
He fell from the sky, so that's why Spider-Man's suit has a parachute. Yeah.
So I'd be interested to see if in sequels if that's something that Batman also
Sure.
does, where okay, this happened, I have a contingency plan for this now.
Sure.
Especially since this is the early years of Batman.
I can't think of anything that happened to him that would make him go, I need this for the next time.
Yeah.
No. But I did like, even in that first fight scene, we talk about him being bulletproof, and I'm perfectly fine with that because this isn't the Batman that just throws on like a t-shirt. It's not fabric.
Mhm.
It's tactical, but that people are hitting him from behind, and he's like still attacking other people, and they're like dragging him by the cape. Normally, Batman is always so like up on it, and he's able to handle everybody. But it was nice seeing like him taking hits from behind as he's still trying to like push forward.
Yeah, it's interesting that Robert Pattinson, compared to all the other Batman, seems like he might be the smallest,
Mhm.
at least lean wise, than all of them. But other than maybe Ben Affleck's, this dude's a tank in this.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't need a big tank tumbler car. He just needs his suit, and he's just running through guys. Like we said earlier, he's just not afraid to walk into an entire building surrounded by people and just take them all out.
Yeah.
Which I think was a lot of fun.
And I said it when we left the theater, but props on Robert Pattinson for refusing to bulk up for this movie because he didn't need to. He looks huge in the suit because it is all suit, and then when he takes it off, he just looks like a normal person. And it's nice that like fucking Benedict Cumberbatch gets buff for Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange doesn't need to be buff. He doesn't need to have a six pack. Even like Star Lord doesn't need to be that buff. Like he should have been a little more schlubby. If anything, Captain America, yeah, of course, he's got to be. And you would think, oh, Batman needs to be buff too. But I like that. It's like no, it's the suit. He has the skills. He doesn't need to be just like cords of muscle on top of each other. Like Ben Affleck is such a wide Batman. He's just like a thick refrigerator of a man. And this is just
But
like
that is what the look they're going for, and it makes sense because if I have to fight Superman, I need to be the biggest. I need to be the Rock size. So
yeah, I like that he when he takes his suit off, he is just like a normal looking dude. I appreciate that. Anything else about the movie before we get on to sequels?
I think we pretty much covered it. I liked the penguin getting tied up
and
doing its little penguin walk.
Yeah,
Penguin waddle, that was fun. I was looking for references to other stuff all the time. I never really saw any. I'd be interested to see if people who like are freeze framing the film is finding stuff that I didn't notice.
Oh, look at this street name is after this artist. And,
yeah.
There is a part where they're talking about Thomas Wayne, and there's a picture of him, and it says like, "Did he take Hush money?" And it says Hush right over him.
But no, I think we covered it. Me, give it an A.
Yep, I'm giving it an A. Like I can't give it an A plus because like yes, it is a little long. Maybe no one action scene stands out as being like better than anything. I'd say most of the action is better than anything from the Christopher Nolan ones. Like I can't think of one fight is amazing, especially in Batman Begins. It's so kind of hard to see.
Yeah.
And then Dark Knight especially Dark Knight Rises, like that Catwoman fight scene on the rooftop, and there's like people in the background just falling over without being hit. Yeah. So I can't quite give it an A plus. It's not perfect, but it's damn close.
And I'm just a fan of comedy. I would have appreciated some more levity, and I think you often get levity from the Bruce Wayne side. And since this Bruce Wayne was even more depressive than the Batman, you didn't quite get it. But whenever there was sort of light moments, like the thumb drive joke, like it worked. I just wish there was
filling your punch joke.
Yeah, I just wish there was a couple more yucks for me.
Yeah, and especially if this Bruce Wayne and this Alfred aren't going to have any banter, you kind of have to rely on the villains. And the Riddler would be someone who could crack a joke, but not this one.
Not this one, yeah.
No, he'll duct tape your face up and listen to Ave Maria, but he ain't cracking no jokes. Okay, so I guess it was all right. Moving on. So the cast has said, or mainly Paul Dano and Robert Pattinson, that Court of Owls is what they want to do next, or what they should do next. And I think with this world, you have to stick to the realistic villains. So no Mr. Freeze, no Poison Ivy. you can do Bane, but we've seen it. And when you start thinking of all the characters that we haven't seen that could be done realistically, there's not a ton. There's Scarface, the Mad Hatter, Hugo Strange, but I could see them not doing Hugo Strange because that's another Doctor Strange, and that'd be kind of.
Well,
I guess if they just always call him Doctor Hugo Strange,
yeah,
then it would work.
It could work.
Hush, uh, but that's about it. There's a lot you just can't do. So the one that makes the most sense is Court of Owls, especially since this movie had a very strong theme of like his family being involved with these criminals and the corrupt politicians. Why wouldn't it be one step further?
Yeah.
And you go to the bigger thing, and hell, even maybe they could even be part of Riddler's plan. Like they fed him some of that information early on, or they led him down a path, or they were aware of what he was doing and knew, okay, this is the guy to be our foil to out these other people we want to get rid of in our society. Court of Owls just makes the most sense, but I don't know much about them in the comics. I don't know who's the leader, because it could be Thomas Wayne never died, or it's Thomas Hush,
Yeah.
like Thomas Wayne's illegitimate son. He could be the leader of the Court of Owls. I mean, fuck, it could be Ra's al Ghul, and it's like the Court of Owls is just a subsect of the League of Shadows. But it's like that's another, we've already seen it. I don't want to see the things we've already seen.
Yeah, I mean, they don't even make reference in this film to how this Batman was trained. I mean, you have one line where Alfred's like, "Oh, I taught you to fight," but that's like, "I taught you at a schoolyard
Yeah.
to protect yourself."
Sure, some old timey boxing, put your dukes up on.
Not, "I trained you how to be an assassin." But yeah, I don't necessarily need to see the League of Shadows come back. I was gonna say I think my sequel is also the Court of Owls, and I mean essentially the Court of Owls, for those who don't know, is just all the Gotham elite, the richest people, and all these people of power in Gotham have this essentially cult where they all wear owl masks and they just control Gotham from the shadows, essentially. And Batman uncovers their secret and has to bring him down.
But it's like, what is their thing? Because it's one thing to be, we're all rich, we're all powerful, we all get together to discuss, the future of the city. But what are the actions that they're taking? Are they, allowing drugs to run rampant in certain areas so they can get that place condemned so they can build a new stadium? Or are they letting psychopaths out of Arkham so they are, can flush the Batman out? It's like, what is their big evil plan? Because just a secret society of rich assholes who wear masks, there's nothing criminal about that. So it's like, what do you do with them? And so, and it's a shame because I was thinking like, you do Hush, you do the whole Thomas Wayne's illegitimate kid who he's figured out who Batman is, or he could just be an assassin for the Owl Society. What do they call it?
League of Shadows.
No, the other one. Court of Owls. The Court of Owls.
Jesus.
League of Owls.
Who?
I think the problem with Hush is, say you introduce a character who wears a coat and some things wrapped around his head and he's going after Batman. It's like, well, that kind of looks like the Riddler from the Batman. Like if you thought,
well,
like if you took out some of the Riddle elements, you could have put Hush in the Batman, and that could have been the villain.
Yeah, because Hush's whole thing. Well, we're just saying the word Hush a bunch of times.
Hush, hush.
But for people who may not know, Hush is
Bruce Wayne's half-brother.
Who...
Thomas Elliot.
Who was like a childhood friend of
and I think
Bruce. And
his dad banged the maid.
And they grew up together, and then Thomas left, and they got separated, and they never saw each other again for like 20 years or whatever it is. And then these murders start happening in Gotham, and people are saying, Bruce Wayne was committing the murder, so Bruce Wayne is getting framed for these murders he's clearly not doing, so Batman has to figure out who is it, and then it turns out that it's Thomas Elliot, who has
plastic
surgery to make himself look like Bruce Wayne in order to get revenge because his dad screwed him as a child all them years ago. But yeah, I think that makes perfect sense where, you have the Court of Owls storyline where you have the Waynes who indirectly had some involvement with them, whether directly or indirectly, and then you have the Hush character who could be part of the Court of Owls, who has all this information because he was both on the inside of the Waynes and the inside of the Owls. You could easily combine these two storylines.
Okay, how about Hush isn't part of the Court of Owls? He's actually going after the Court of Owls because, like, my dad was part of this society, and uh, like hmm,
Now, I think the Court of Owls would be using Hush to frame Bruce Wayne because I think
because he's not towing the line.
he's not telling. I think they're like Bruce Wayne is doing stuff
Hmm.
for the city we don't like. He's not. Maybe they even invite him to join, and he's like, I'm not part of this. This
Mhm.
is stupid or whatever. And they just like, oh, we can't trust Bruce, so we're gonna frame him for murder. We'll do. And then this is where the Hush character comes in,
Yeah.
and then
But I feel like it's such a waste to let's bring in this guy who happens to be a blood relative of Bruce Wayne who's getting surgery to change himself just to frame him. It seems like that's a Clayface thing. You hire this actor who has a really good malleable face and he's able to look like anybody. And you hire him to frame Bruce Wayne to get him out of the Court of Owls. It seems like this whole familiar thread is wasted if it's just we're hiring his half brother to kill him.
I mean, not hiring. Maybe it's just he's part of the Court of Owls because he, like I said, he had his involvement with the Waynes, and he just had information that they weren't privy to. And it's not that they're hiring him; it's just he's part of it. And like we said, we don't believe Clayface would fit in this world.
Yeah.
And we didn't write the comics. We didn't make up the shit of him
Yeah.
doing plastic surgery on his face. Like that's in lore.
Sure.
Like, yeah, there's two guys who could change their face, but one's plastic surgery and one has a direct link, and the other one's just an actor who is a mutant. So
Yeah, I think you do. Thomas Elliot or Hush, he's in the league, and I think he should be running it because like maybe Thomas Wayne
if they kill Bruce, he's the only blood relative to the Wayne, so he would inherit the
he would
fortune.
inherit, and then he can like write all
Then he can have the complete power in Gotham.
yes, yeah.
Boom, there it is. That's the movie. So anyway, number two. What's number three, Ben?
Number three. Okay, well, in number two, I want it to be called the Caped Crusader.
Ooh,
Because it's
I like
like
it.
the Batman, the Caped Crusader, and this is about him like he's going on this crusade to like get all this corruption and this
Sure.
secret society out. So then the third one is called the Dynamic Duo, and that's when you bring Robin in.
Damn.
Yeah, because they've already used the Dark Knight, which is a great title, and since you're doing the Batman for this one, why not do all of his other
And you
nicknames?
tease Robin in the second one because it's a court of owls of birds, and maybe he's like a youngster of someone in the family. They die. It's like I'm taking on a bird, sort of
They can
theme myself.
subsects like, what do the storks say? The storks vote nay. Oh, and like the penguins there, and like, what about the penguin? And the ostriches, like they all have their things. And because I think when we pitched this, even it was we had ties to an orphanage, and we were even suggesting like you do Dick Grayson and Tim Drake at the and Red Hood.
Jason Todd.
Jason Todd. You do them all at the same time. They're three orphans that Thomas Wayne has he's running an orphanage. That's his thing. That's his philanthropy. That's his in public. He's doing that. And so after his fall, Batman has to take all three of them, and you knock out all three Robins at the same time. I don't know if they do that.
I think it'd be a lot. It'd be
Hey,
hard.
we pitched this.
I'd like to see it.
We
Yeah.
but yeah, I think you would have those ties, and that's another thing of like Riddler being an orphan and having to deal with the orphanage. It's like it's stealing stories from other things,
Mhm.
and hey, you know what? The kid at the beginning that I said never comes back, that who's part of the gang, who's doing his initiation, that could be Robin. Why not? He kind of actually looks like the guy they got for Tim Drake in Titans.
Oh,
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah.
So the only other thing I would say is that with the third one, so you tease Joker in the first one because you had to,
Mhm.
and then but you don't make Joker part of the second one, and then he's kind of like the Thanos thing, which is like we'll tease him a bunch of times before we actually bring him in.
Yeah.
And so the second one is him bringing down Batman trying to bring down the Court of Owls and everything. And then once they're gone, that's when the Joker comes in because now all these rich, powerful people have gone down. Now there's like a an economic shift of
Hmm.
power, and so there's all this like money going places and people rising who shouldn't be and all this other stuff. And then that's when the Gotham City is in chaos. That's when the Joker shines. But now
Hmm.
there's only one person in power, not necessarily in power, but I don't know. You just that's how you do the third one. That's the one pitching is Joker comes in the third one.
Third one, Joker.
Joker.
Yep.
Sorry, I thought I had a thought there. Yes, I did.
Yeah, I.
No, we didn't really talk about,
Mm.
and I haven't heard anyone really talk about this in not to keep going back to the movie, but in the Batman you have this these group of armed white men, and I feel like they
Mhm.
were trying to say something with that.
Sure.
Just like here's a online persona. It's like we're all gonna get together and get your 30 caliber rifles and just mass shoot a bunch of people. I think that was trying. I think. Do you think that the second one, if they do Court of Owls, kind of say, you know how the Dark Knight Rises was kind of like the Occupy Gotham sort
Hmm.
of storyline. This is the uh, you
The
know
one
the
percenters.
one percenters kind of
Sure.
thing.
Yeah, the American oligarchs.
So
Absolutely.
if this first Batman movie is the low level uh, torch bearing kind of dudes, and the next one's the 1% elite,
Mhm.
and this trilogy is really going to be a story about economic
Yeah.
class structure.
Yeah. Could be.
We'll see.
Yeah, I don't know what you do with the third one because like I don't really care if Joker is in any of these.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. I just think by the third one we need to have Robin. We probably will have a Batgirl movie or show or whatever by that time. So throw her in as well. Hey, you know what they could do for the second one? You know, yeah. You know the
Tell me.
Arkham Origins game where it's like eight assassins are all going after Batman at the same
Yeah.
time. So you just do the Court of Owls. They say that's how you work Joker in. It's just we need to get rid of Batman. Let's send Deathstroke. Deathstroke comes, Batman stops him. Okay, let's send in
Deadshot.
Deadshot. Okay, no, he stops him. It's like fuck it. Let's put the most chaotic thing out there, and then they release the Joker. You
Yeah.
know, something like that. So then you could have a bunch of smaller cameos from other villains that don't necessarily need their own movie.
You did it better, but that's essentially what I was trying to get at is
Oh
somehow
no!
somehow the Court of Owls has something to do with the Joker, but the Joker's the one who just laughing gasses them all or whatever, and he's the one to actually bring them down, not Batman.
That'd be cool.
Uh, and I mean, it's interesting that of all the Arkham games to kind of adapt, you're going with the one that is like the least liked.
I like that game. I like
I
it
actually
better
never
than.
played it.
Oh, okay. I liked it
I
better
mean,
than
I
the
know what
other one.
happens and everything, but yeah, and I'm surprised we haven't actually had an Arkham movie. That also could be what the third one is.
Well, I think because the first spin-off show was going to be Gotham City Police Department
Hmm.
for HBO Max, and he's recently come out and said like the story he's evolved away from the cops and more about an Arkham story.
Okay.
So absolutely, I don't give a shit about these cops. Let's see what's going on in
Yeah, I think we
Arkham
could do some
Asylum.
really cool stuff.
Because there was a Green Arrow movie that was going to be made where Green Arrow gets committed either on purpose or is framed, and he's in Arkham or uh, a similar facility in his Bloodhaven or wherever he's from. And he has to now he's stuck in a prison with all of his villains, and it's like what a cool story. I don't care about Green Arrow, but you do that with a Batman one, that's fantastic. Yeah,
Mm.
that can be a very small contained story of just Batman stuck in a loony bin with all of his villains. It's good shit.
I love it. I have one last scene to pitch you, and then we'll move on to
Also, I think of one as well.
okay. So let me know what you think of this alternate scene to the Joker scene.
Okay.
So it plays out exactly the same, but you get a different actor in there for the Joker's part. And they're talking, it's like, yada, 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 we can be friends. And by the way, you know, I'm actually Batman. And then the camera like zooms in and you think it's the Joker, but then it's just
Just
Jim
Jim
Carrey.
Carrey?
And then the Joel Schumacher theme comes on. And then he's just
Oh
doing
man,
then he's just
that'd
doing the big
be
wave.
that'd be pretty funny.
Yeah. What do you think about that?
Oof, I like it, but I can see people just not
Huh?
getting it or rolling their eyes.
Yeah.
But
Just imagine you have two different Riddlers from
Yeah.
two different timelines. You got the
Yeah.
multiverse in there,
yeah,
and you have a nod to the classic cinema that is Joel Schumacher's Batman Forever. It'd be great.
So
Or is it Batman and Robin?
no, it's
Batman
Batman
Forever. Yeah,
Forever.
yeah, yeah.
So the one thing that we mentioned or that we'd get to is just how the Riddler like totally figures out who Batman is, even though that's not his goal. He's never trying to figure out who
Mm-mm.
Batman is, but he's just like he's interrogating him, and he's just like Bruce Wayne,
And the trailer's laid on
Bruce
really thick that it's
Wayne.
like, oh, he figured it out.
Bruce Wayne is the one we couldn't get. Isn't that right, Ben? And it's and earlier, one of his gunmen from the end is at a funeral scene with Bruce Wayne, and he's just like, "Hey, don't I know you? You look familiar. Haven't I seen your face before?" And when they get to the Riddler's apartment, he has all these pictures hanging out and is like, "Who is the Bat?" And there's a big picture of Bruce Wayne, and there's like red string from him to a picture of Batman, and no one figures it out. No one puts two and two together. Even the Riddler, this extremely smart guy, can't puzzle this out.
But I think I told you I kind of like that because a lot of times you hear these detective stories where sometimes it's so obvious it's right under your nose and you don't figure it out, or you're looking at the what's the phrase, looking at the forest but missing, or looking at the trees but missing the forest or something like that.
To see the forest for the trees.
Yeah, something.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so
You don't see the forest for the trees.
yeah, they're so set on seeing it one way that they completely miss the other stuff going on around it.
Yeah,
So I kind of like that aspect of it.
I get it, but it was just like, what a dummy.
And what do you think about the voiceover in the film?
The Rorschach voice.
Yeah, 'cause that's the only thing I can think of. Like,
Yeah.
I like it in this movie. It
Mhm.
works
Yeah.
because this is going to be the detective noir story, and that's what detective noir movies have is
Mhm.
voiceover. And it's like, Gotham, a city in trouble. Not the only one who can save it. But the whole time I was just I expect like if the Joker was in this movie, the whole time I was just like, tonight a comedian died. Like, that's all I could think of.
Yeah, I liked it, and I actually wouldn't have mind more because sometimes Batman needs someone to talk to, and if he doesn't have Catwoman or Alfred or Commissioner Gordon,
He's got the audience.
he's got the audience. Yeah, and sometimes he needs to just say things for our sake. But yeah, I had no problem with it.
All right.
Moving on.
We kept going. So we have nothing else to say, and then just
and then this.
that's how you know it's a good movie.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm sure when we're doing this next part, we're gonna keep going back. Oh, you know the movie.
Yeah, yeah.
Because, so for this section, we were talking like who's the best Batman, and that's hard to say because one Batman may have an amazing Batmobile but a terrible suit, and one Batman has fantastic villains, but maybe a not so good Alfred. So we are going to look at all the Batman movies. I think it's a little unfair, but we are going to add the animated series. I think that's kind of like the default. It has the best of everything, and everything else is going to pretty much compare to that, at least for me. So we have in order. First Batman was Michael Keaton, who what?
Oh,
Wait, are you going to do?
my list that I did, because I texted you about
Yeah.
this. I have Adam West,
Oh, you're good.
Kevin Conroy, Michael Keaton, Val Kilmer, George Clooney, Christian Bale, Ben Affleck, Robert Pattinson.
Okay, that's fine. I wasn't going to count any sort of TV shows.
Well, Adam West, I think, did a Batman.
Yeah, there is a Batman
Yeah.
movie or whatever. But hey, you're not including the show Gotham. You're not including the show Pennyworth. There's an Alfred in that.
Gross.
But okay, I mean that's fine.
None of those are iconic. Adam West is.
All right, so
Trust me, he doesn't do well anyway. So
all right, so we're gonna rate on different categories: their Alfred, their Batcave, their Batmobile, their suit, little bit of everything, and then we're gonna tally up our votes and see who truly is the best Batman.
So I have the suit in the Batman category. It's not its own.
Well, obviously we're trying to find out who's the best Batman.
Sure.
So the category is suit.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay. All right, so
Do you want to do gadgets first? Because I feel like that's kind of the most
sure.
unexciting one. So
All right, so when it comes to gadgets, I think no one really stands out as having like the most gadgets. Everybody kind of has a little bit of something, except for maybe the Adam West one, because he always had like a shark repellent or something. He always had the most stuff. But everybody uses a grappling gun, and I think it's the Tim Burton's ones has the most because he has like a remote control batarang and he has a lot of different functions for his car. Um, and in one of them, he has like a fireball comes and he turns on like a cloak to protect him from the fire. I think that's Batman Forever. Yeah, that's Batman Forever.
Yeah, they all have their own sort of unique set, and they all have the big like three, the batarang, the
Grappling
grappling
gun.
hook, the cape, all that.
Hmm.
Like they don't branch out too much, but they all
Sure.
just add enough little differences. So do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first, or
Are you just you have them ranked,
I
right?
have them ranked?
You
Yeah.
have them ranked. Oh.
And some of these ranks are just based on I don't remember them
Okay,
all that
okay.
well.
And I'll put in my 2 cents, and maybe we'll have to
Okay.
move some around. Okay, so who's your worst?
The worst is George Clooney's Batman.
Already, I think you're wrong because he has like he actually might have the most stuff. They have like the rubber lips to fight poison ivy. He has ice skates in his boots. Uh,
Yeah, but
he has like a thermal thing to warm up Robin when he gets frozen. Like he has like the most tech that isn't the animated series because the animated series you had hundreds of episodes and he had a little gadget for everything.
we'll see. That's where it comes in, where I just didn't remember any of that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
this list is already in shambles. But what I will say, the reason I put him at the bottom was one because I didn't quite remember anything specific that his did, but also the ones that I did remember, they like you said, the ice skate stuff. It like he just had those at the ready. He expected to be in ice skate scenarios a bunch of times.
Like we said, like if Batman knows what he's getting
I
into,
know.
he has something for
It
it.
just like and I the movie just seemed the gadgets in that seemed silly at times, and I think that's why I put it at the bottom. Is just because when it comes to Batman, I think practicality and functionality, and this was just luckily I had this at the ready, and that's just what it
Okay,
speaks to me.
well, let's see your list.
At number 7. Similar was Val Kilmer. I swear this isn't just shit on Joel Schumacher. I actually give them some good scores
Okay,
in
okay.
some other regards. Number 6, I have Kevin Conroy. Obviously, that one I gave number 6 only because it's the animated version and it's kind of unfair that he can
Yeah.
just pull anything at any time. Number 5, I have Mike Keaton, only because that's the original. It kind of just goes with the more iconic stuff. I don't remember there being a ton of uh, grandiose
Hmm.
specialty gadgets. Uh, Number 4, I have Robert Pattinson, and he is at number 4 mainly because he just doesn't have a ton. But
Sure.
I liked how realistic they were, and
Hmm.
they fit with all of his stuff, and everything made sense that he had, and nothing was out there.
Okay.
Number 3. I gave Adam West. This is Adam West's highest score for
Okay.
3,
Okay.
and even though I just shit on George Clooney's thing, that was the whole purpose of the Adam West. Is it's supposed to be campy and silly and fun and kind of family friendly. It does. Why would Batman have shark repellent? But I like that he did. So I gave Adam West a pretty high score for that
Okay.
one, only because of it was supposed to be fun. Uh, Number 2, I have Ben Affleck because he used a ton of gadgets against Batman and pretty much any
Even against Superman.
or Superman. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anytime you saw Batman fight, he was using gadgets constantly. He wasn't
Sure.
all punchy. Where
Yeah. Yeah.
like the warehouse fight, he was grappling hooking dudes and all that.
Use the sound thing against
Yeah,
Superman.
the sound thing. Like he used
Kryptonite
gadgets
grenades.
to the fullest effect.
I think where's gadgets?
Gadgets is over here.
Okay. I think you should move George Clooney up.
Probably. But like I said, I didn't remember, so that's why I gave him
All
number.
right.
And number 1, I gave it to Christian Bale because he used tons of gadgets. He had the ocular eyes in
Sure.
The Dark Knight.
Mm-hmm. He had little balls in his Batmobile when he like collapsed the freeway or whatever to stop the cops.
All of his vehicles had multiple functionalities. I just think there's no other Batman who used. If Ben Affleck used gadgets to fight, Batman used gadgets to solve major problems.
Where was what's his face?
Like Keaton.
Michael Keaton.
He was number 5. He was just number 5 because he was like,
I think he has more gadgets than Christian Bale.
I got it. Ben, I didn't watch all these movies. Yeah, I don't have a photographic memory like you, so
Yeah. All right. Well, I think your gadget category is totally wrong, but
fair enough.
all right. Okay. What's next one?
Let's do Gotham, I guess.
Okay. I'm gonna say the best representation of Gotham is Robert Pattinson's The Batman. It's greasy, it's dirty, there's smoke coming up everywhere. Looks great.
Okay. Number 8, Adam West.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a studio
It's a
set.
studio lot. Number 7, we have Ben Affleck. I don't think we even really see Gotham like that. We see like one rooftop.
Yeah, it's
There
not
hasn't been a Batman movie
Yeah.
with Ben Affleck. There's just been Justice League movies with him there.
Yeah.
So that's why that's number 7.
Okay.
Number 6, we have Kevin Conroy, just because, one, animated, but it's just taken from the comics.
The animated series had its most influence from Tim Burton's
Okay.
Batman. So it has a good look for what it is. Yeah, I think that's fine.
Okay. Number 5, we have Christian Bale's, mainly because we basically get 3 different versions of
Yeah.
Gotham, and they're very inconsistent. The first one, I agree with you. Looks great. Second one, and the third one, it's a city.
It's Chicago.
It's Pittsburgh or whatever it is.
Chicago was Dark Knight.
Yeah. Number 4. Now, 4 and 3 kind of interchange because they're essentially the same thing. But I have 4 at George Clooney and 3 at Val Kilmer.
Yeah.
They're grandiose and silly at times, and
It's like a Las Vegas version.
yeah. But I kind of like its look. It's different.
Sure. And it's we were talking about this before, how you start with the Tim Burton ones and that classic look of Gotham. When you get to a Joel Schumacher, it's looking a little neon, not necessarily high tech, but it looks like they're moving away from the past. And if this Batman is still around with this Flash movie, and that we may get a Batman Beyond eventually, that Gotham kind of makes sense.
So that was 4 and 3. At number 2, I have Robert Pattinson's Gotham.
Okay.
Love the look, love how seedy it is. I like how real it is. Definitely seems like someplace I haven't seen but could go to if I drive, 2 hours from here.
Yeah.
And then at number 1, we have Michael Keaton's, mainly because I think it's the most iconic looking Gotham City. It looks gothic, but it doesn't look like any other city in existence, but also seems like it could be a very real place. And I think it captures the essence of the Batman comics and the look that has preceded Batman ever since.
Yeah.
I think it's the most iconic look. Like when you think of Gotham City, you think of Michael Keaton's Batman 1989.
Absolutely. I agree. I'm okay with that.
All right. Let's do Batcave and
Batcave?
Batcave, yeah. This one was the hardest for me because a lot of them were very similar.
Sure, yeah.
And I don't recall some of these.
Well, let me, since I don't have a list and you got the list, let me say my piece. I love Robert Pattinson's Batcave. Nice train station. Makes perfect sense of how to get to multiple parts of the city.
Mm-hmm.
I like Batman Begins Cave because it's just a simple little lagoon with a waterfall. It's kind of a classic. The animated series and the Tim Burton ones are very similar. Just big cavernous cave. I think the worst one is going to be Dark Knight, because it's not even a Batcave. It's a warehouse. It's just a big white room where they shoot like rap music videos, like, or Salt and Pepper music video. And who am I missing? I think that's it. But
well,
so if I was to give it to like the most classic, what Batman's Batcave should look like, it's probably Tim Burton's Batman.
Okay, here we go. So at number 8, Adam West.
Yeah.
His just looks like it looks like a storage room that they just kind of pasted rocks to the wall, and
it's a bunch of boxes with blinking Christmas lights, and like this is a Bat computer.
At number 7, I gave Christian Bale. Now, the Batman Begins Batcave, perfectly adequate, but I'm kind of counting all 3 movies in this, and since he only really had it for the first one, and then his subsequent Batcaves were, like you said, the rap music video one, and then the third one was
back into the cave.
yeah, I guess he's back in the cave, but you don't really
You don't say at the very end.
at the very
with
end.
Robin.
Yeah. So that's why that one kind of falls under because you don't really get to appreciate the Batcave all that much in the Nolan films. So that was at number 6 we have Ben Affleck's. I watched a video of him training.
Yes.
He's one.
It's like a garage almost.
Yeah,
but nothing special.
Yeah, nothing special. Number 5, I have Robert Pattinson's.
Okay. Because it's not a cave.
Yeah, it's not a cave. It's a train station. I love the look of it.
Yeah.
I think it makes perfect sense. I like that it's under Wayne Tower, and who's gonna look under there? He's the top guy. So that works for me, and it fits into the world. Once again, kind of tied for 4 and 3. We have George Clooney and Val Kilmer's. It's essentially the same Batcave from Tim Burton's. It's just they may have added like lasers or a water area so they could have the jet ski one or not the jet ski, the speedboats.
Yeah, it's more of a like the like swamp rider airboat sort of things, but
so those only really fall like they look good for those movies. It's just they kind of fall because they just look the same as the other ones. Number 2, I gave it to Kevin Conroy's. Obviously, like you said, it just once again is taken from the Tim Burton ones, but I like all the sort of added kind of memorabilia that
the T-Rex, the giant penny. We haven't gotten any movie with all that fun stuff. The most we have is dead Robin's suit, glass cage.
I think so. Just for the accents of the animated one, we got number 2 and number 1. I was looking at images, and I mean some of these bat caves are pretty much just like when you think of a cave, it's just a small cave. Where the Tim Burton one, it's a giant cavern with deep long pits. Like this thing is both scary and cool looking and immense, and it's got a great look. And I'm interested to see how he drives it out of this because it looks like it's actually in the top of a mountain. Like I don't know how it works, but the Tim Burton ones look cool.
Yeah.
Good. All right, so I guess let's do Alfred, and then pretty much it's just villains and Batman stuff. Batman related stuff.
Okay.
So we have 5 categories to go.
Oh, did you do individual villains?
No.
Oh, okay.
Just villains.
Okay.
In general. All right. Alfred, number 8, Adam West. Mainly
I mean, it's a classic. This is what Alfred should be, but I think it is done better by the Tim Burton, Joel Schumacher Alfreds, which is it's hard for that category because he's 4. I'm gonna say my least favorite Alfred is Andy Serkis.
Okay.
And I would say the best Alfred. This is hard because it should be Michael Caine because he's the best actor out of all of them. He makes the most sense, but the Tim Burton, Joel Schumacher Alfred, I think is classic Alfred. Oh wait, no, since we're doing the animated, I'm going animated. Animated Alfred. There we go.
So I think this is my most controversial list because we'll get to it.
Okay.
So Number 8 is Adam West. Number 7, I have Jeremy Irons. Just because I don't think not bad. When I think of Alfred and someone says, "Oh, I think Jeremy Irons would be good," I was like, "Yeah, that makes sense." I think Jeremy Irons tracks, but his character never really did anything all that exciting. So he's number 7. At number, and this is once again kind of where the list gets tight. At 6, 5, and 4, we have the Tim Burton Alfred, and number 6 it's Clooney. Number 5 is Vel Kilmer. It goes down from from his last appearance to his first appearance.
I would even maybe put Batman and Robin as the worst one, just because he turns himself into like an AI at one point. He's like in a computer talking to to Batgirl.
Yeah,
real stupid.
I'm just
stuff.
having him as one guy because essentially this movie is saying it's the same universe, just different Batman.
Yeah.
So I'm just
he's 5, 4, 3.
He's 6, 5, and 4.
6, 5. Okay. Oh, okay. I guess that's one of them is.
Yeah. And I like how lovely he is, but I kind of like an Alfred who's kind of you could tell he used to be a badass.
Okay. Yeah, this Alfred, a strong wind.
Yeah, like I like
over.
his loving sort of caretaker aspect to him,
Mhm.
but he's just so old. Even in the Tim Burton ones, like he looks
So,
so old,
yeah.
and he's not my pick for Alfred. Number three, I have Robert Pattinson's Andy Serkis.
Okay.
Uh, Now it's too early to say if this Alfred's any good. Like we've talked about, he's only in a few scenes, but I think the few scenes he's in, like he really works those scenes pretty well, and I could see him doing a lot more in the future. Uh, I think he looks tough. I think he's got this gravitas to him that pairs well with especially how kind of scary Robert Pattinson is in this movie. So I think he's number threes for making good work of his few scenes, but also I think he has potential to really do some cool stuff in the future.
Okay.
Um, at number two, we have animated Alfred. Probably the most quintessential Alfred.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Sarcastic, but helpful, smart, can hold his own.
covers all the bases. But the reason he's number two is a little unfair, but because he's animated, where I'm giving Michael Caine Alfred the number one because he's just a great he's a great actor. He's had beautiful scenes that can almost make you cry, and I think he really was kind of like the emotional heart of the
Yeah.
Nolan films, who really grounded Batman, and he served a purpose in all three.
Mhm.
He wasn't just kind of here this movie, and then he's kind of important in the second movie. Like he is an essential part of Batman and
Yeah.
keeping him not only alive but grounded in reality. And Michael Caine is great throughout all three of those.
Yeah, having the watch the world burn
Mhm.
scene, and then like crying for Bruce when he thinks he's dead. Yeah, he's really almost as important as Batman in those movies,
Mhm.
whereas Alfred's just kind of there for most of the other ones.
And my probably my favorite scene of Alfred's, which is him admitting like, I burned the letter and
Mm,
I can't stand here and watch you kill yourself essentially. And
yeah.
he's like, all right, well get out, and like
Mm-hmm.
kicks away the only person who's loved him for the past 20 years,
Yeah.
besides Rachel or whatever. But yeah, just great stuff. I love Michael Caine in
Yeah.
those movies. All right, so do you want to do car, Bruce, villain, or Batman next?
You mean suit, right?
Batman in general, including suit.
Okay. Let's do Batmobile.
Batmobile. All right. What do you think is the worst? What do you think is
The worst Batmobile is probably Batman and Robin because it's got this big swirling nuclear engine that's exposed and it's just ugly and it's got these big fins hanging from the top. It's just awful. Uh, that would probably be my eight. My number seven would probably be Ben Affleck's because it's kind of like the Tumbler, but let's add a fuck ton of guns and let's make it big and mean and it's stupid. So the best, well, that's hard because it's animated series and Tim Burton Batman. Those Batmobiles are iconic. Those are one and two. Which one's which? I'll never tell.
All right. So, number eight, and it's number eight not because it looks bad, but because it doesn't seem safe.
Okay.
And I'm giving that to the Adam West Batman. Now, it's the Batmobile I might most want to drive
Okay.
because I think it looks fun, but the main thing is it's a convertible, and it just seems like you're just asking for someone to lob a grenade or use
Yeah.
a sniper rifle on you. Like it's not going to protect you. Where I feel like Batman's vehicle should be able to withstand a hail of bullets.
Sure.
Where this one, Batman could be at a stop sign and get.
Yeah, but he didn't really used his Batmobile in missions, it seemed like in the show. It was just get out of the Batcave, get to the thing.
I'm covering all bases with the Batmobile.
But at least it's one of the ones that are probably the most street legal.
For sure.
Because as we see in some of them, like there's one, I think it's in Tim Burton's first Batman, he needs to use a grappling hook to make a turn. It's so big, he has to anchor himself that way, and like can't be safe. And he's like blowing off the side so he can go down alleys and shooting grappling hooks so he can climb up walls. Like it's just crazy unsafe.
Yeah, if you put the Tumbler from the Nolan films and then Adam West car in front of me, and then you're like, which one would you like to drive? I'm gonna pick the Adam West one or like, which one would you like to own? It's like I'm gonna pick the Adam West one because when the fuck am I gonna drive the Tumbler?
Yeah.
I have nowhere to take that. Like I can't drive to work in a Tumbler.
Yeah.
I can drive to work in Adam West Batmobile.
You take up 2 lanes everywhere you go because that Tumbler's so.
But I'm just thinking if its sole purpose is for helping fighting crime,
Yeah.
it's on the lower tier.
Okay.
Number seven, I have the George Clooney one, It's
Okay.
essentially the other ones, but uglier.
Awful.
Number 6, we have Robert Pattinson. Look cool.
Oh, what the fuck, man? It needs to be higher. That's a cool. It's like a monster just lurking in the shadows. It's great.
It looks cool, but it's just a car.
It's with a jet engine on the end.
Super cool, fits in the world. I like that it's a car in that sense, and it works in the film, but it's not all that exciting to look at because it's a muscle car.
Okay.
At number 5, I have Ben Affleck's. Just from a practicality standpoint, do I love the look of it? No. But does it look like something that Batman would use to kind of burst through buildings? It's like, why wouldn't he have guns to get through stuff?
Yeah, but he has these guns to like murder people.
Sure,
He's a
but
murder Batman.
We're not talking about Batman.
I know.
We're talking about his car.
Yeah.
So I think from a functionality standpoint, number 5, that's fine.
And he also, I think, has some of the worst alternate vehicles, like the crab or whatever, that thing that climbs up the tower.
yeah.
For what? Is stupid. Really dumb.
It's not a Batmobile,
Yeah.
though. Number 4, we have Val Kilmer's.
Yeah.
You know,
It's ugly, but yeah.
ugly, but classic look. Number 3, we have Kevin Conroy. It was hard because it's
You better not have the Tumblr for number 1.
no.
Okay.
And
It's better than the Tumblr.
From a,
It's serious.
from a look standpoint, yes.
I'd say functionality.
I think the Kevin Conroy one is an iconic look, and it's a very good Batmobile. It kind of looks like a bat. That all works. The Tumbler doesn't look like a bat.
No.
I admit to that. But the Tumbler is probably the most effective Batmobile, where it doesn't need guns, but you believe it can burst through. You believe it can take these hail of bullets and missile fire because it's a big hulking mobile. Is it a tank? But it's an interesting looking tank.
It is definitely interesting looking and different than anything
It
we've
sets itself
seen.
apart from the other Batmans while still being realistic and coming from the R&D department that did stuff with the military. Like, its origin makes sense versus all these other Batmobiles just, oh, I have a Batmobile and it looks like a bat. Yeah. And I
can't see. Batman doesn't need to jump from rooftop to rooftop on his car. His car is just a thing to chase down.
Movies he has done this. Even with his other.
Yeah, if you look at Batman and Robin, he's like driving off a statue onto another one. Yeah, that's all ridiculous. But I don't know. Animated series, I think, is better than the Tumblr.
But you could do anything with the animated series. So some of this is animated is hard because I'm trying to be fair.
Sure.
It's not getting.
Especially when we get to the villains.
Yeah. And then at number 1 for the car, I have the Tim Burton Batmobile.
Absolutely.
When I think of which Batmobile versus the Kevin Conroy one, and this one ranks higher, I just think this one is visually more interesting. The other Batmobile almost looks like a car you could get, where the Tim Burton one, I like the bat features on it, but it also looks like it would have the functionality to almost be a real car.
Yeah.
So it just has the best look out of all of them.
Yeah.
So that's for sure. All right. Bruce or the villains?
Let's talk about Bruce.
Bruce. All right. What you got?
Best Bruce Wayne is Ben Affleck. He is the best Bruce Wayne and best Batman. Like, he is the only one who's nailed both those roles. But he's in really shitty movies, so he doesn't. It doesn't look good on him. But he looks like Bruce Wayne. He's got the hair. He's got the chin. He's got the build. I think he is the best. It's just unfortunate he's in really bad movies.
Oh, you're not gonna like this list then. So who's the worst?
Worst Bruce Wayne is probably Pattinson, probably. Just because he's not like all the other ones. They kind of are similar in what Bruce Wayne is, being a phony playboy, where Pattinson doesn't do that. And I know that's not part of the movie, but for what we know of who Bruce Wayne is, that's the worst one.
Okay. At number 8, I have Adam West.
Okay.
Mainly because I never saw any footage of Adam West as Bruce Wayne, but imagine it's can't be. I've only seen him dressed up as
He's
Batman.
very much his Batman and his Bruce Wayne are the same person.
Sure. Well, then I stick by mine. At number seven, I actually have Ben Affleck. That's where
There's no way that George Clooney or Val Kilmer are better Bruce Wayne than Ben Affleck. No way. No fucking way.
See, here's the thing. Like, I think Ben Affleck's Batman. I agree. Looks the most.
Widow's Peak.
Looks the most like Bruce Wayne. That's fine. And I'll even give. He's got that line where it's like, "Oh, the bank said you can keep the house. Well, how'd you do that? Well, I bought the bank." Like, it's a very Bruce Wayne thing to do. But because he's so low on my list because we haven't really gotten a Batman film with you don't really see him Bruce Wayne it up to me. Like it's there. It could be a good Bruce. It's just I need to see more of that. I need to see just a solo Batman movie or not. If you want to bring in other characters, fine, but I need it to be Batman plus other people, not the Justice League featuring Batman. So that's why he's lower on the list. I think he could be a great Bruce Wayne, but I just haven't seen enough of it. Plus, I didn't see the Snyder Cut, so I don't give a shit. All right. Number six, Pattinson. This, along with his car, is his lowest rated for me. Like I said earlier in our review, I think it works in this interpretation. I get why they went this direction. I like it, but I like my Playboy Batman, or Bruce Wayne, so that's why he's number six. Number five, I have Clooney, just because I think Clooney's a handsome man, and if you told me anyone's going to play Bruce Wayne, why wouldn't it be George Clooney? Because I feel like George Clooney's kind of a real life Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think if he was given a better director and a better script, George Clooney could have been a good Batman, but a good Batman and good Bruce Wayne. But once again, he's in bad movies, and he looks kind of ridiculous in the suits they give him.
Yeah. So that's no fault to George Clooney. So that's why he's number five. Number four, Michael Keaton. Okay. Mainly because Keaton, he doesn't like. Keaton's a handsome man, but he's not Bruce Wayne handsome.
Sure.
To me, he doesn't carry himself like a sophisticated rich guy. I feel like he's kind
of a doofus.
He's kind of just like a regular dude who happens to be rich, which in some regards can work for Bruce Wayne. But he never. I just never really buy him as Bruce Wayne. I just buy him as a dude who just happens to be rich. Number three, Kevin Conroy, great Bruce Wayne. Yeah. Kind of only held back, I feel like, by the medium of being, a kid's animated show.
Sure.
So I think
dated.
Yeah, no, I mean he works it in the guidelines that the show allowed. And they definitely do tons of like backstory with him. So he's got a little bit of unfair advantage where he's had the most time as Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
But I'd like to see, that Bruce Wayne kind of get away with a little bit more. At number two, Val Kilmer. I actually think Val Kilmer was a pretty good Bruce Wayne. I think his dynamic with Chase Meridian works. I
think he is looking at the first Batman. Why can you not remember his name?
Val Kilmer?
No,
Bruce Wayne. Who? Oh, Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton. When you look at Michael Keaton's Bruce Wayne, and then you look at Val Kilmer, Val Kilmer's probably a more handsome guy and a little more polished and a little more, macho. But I think they are similar enough that you can just buy that as the same person. Then when you get to Clooney, it's a complete different person. My problem with Val Kilmer is his lips are so distinct. When you look at all the Batman side by side, everybody just has like kind of strong jaws and everything, and he has these big like Princess Peach lips, and they're like these big. I'm gonna pull up this picture and tell me I'm not crazy.
Well, I'll just finish up the list while you're looking it up. Okay. And then at number one, Christian Bale. I think Christian Bale is the best Bruce Wayne we've ever had. He definitely plays the billionaire playboy really well. He's super good looking, really buff, plays with his money, buys the hotel, shows up with models. Like he does Bruce Wayne. Even when, he's doing Batman stuff, people thinks he's doing Bruce Wayne stuff. Like when the Joker shows up to the party and it's like, a safe room. Can we come? And he just closed himself in. And like, what a classic billionaire move to do. Yeah. But really, he's just dressing up so he could fight crime. I think Christian Bale nails Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. I don't want to weigh this picture real much. It's like I can't get any signal to show if it eventually loads. but yeah, Val Kilmer just has it's a lot like Tom Hardy had really thick lips that are just like it's more obvious than like a butt chin that like Ben Affleck's butt
Yeah.
chin would easily give him away as who Batman is. His lips are just too noticeable,
Okay.
too damn kissable.
Should we finish with Batman or should we finish with the fun one of the villains?
Uh,
I mean, it's a Batman list, so part of me feels like it should be Batman in the end, but
probably.
okay, let's go villains then.
Okay.
We're almost done, folks. Don't worry. All right. Who do you think's the top and who do you think's the bottom?
Well, I mean, this is us trying to figure out who the best Batman is. So
Oh, I thought we were doing villains. I'm sorry.
we're doing villains? Oh, yeah, yeah.
You
No,
want,
no, no,
okay.
you're right. No, villains. Okay. This is an impossible one to do because some of these only get one or two villains. Some of them have all the villains. So default animated series, every incarnation of every villain is great. They don't mess up on any of them. That has to be number one. Worst, Batman and Robin, because their versions of Poison Ivy, Bane, and Mr. Freeze are terrible. Everybody else is pretty good. I would say probably Ben Affleck's a little low on that just because his villain is a terrible Lex Luthor and Superman, who's not a villain, or bug monsters and Darkseid and stuff. So he would also be very, very low. I would say
Let me get to my list, man.
I'm fine. And then Tim Burton's Batman Returns is pretty high because like that Catwoman's great, that Penguin is great. And then I'd say maybe the Bale ones are somewhere in the middle.
Okay. Here we go. So at number 8, we have Ben Affleck's Batman has the worst villains,
Yep.
mainly because none of them are his villains. Yes, we have the Joker in one,
Yeah.
but we never see them fight really. I mean, there's that one scene in Suicide Squad where I think he shows up and takes down Harley Quinn with the Joker, but Batman never fights his own villains. And, or Ben Affleck doesn't fight his own villains.
Yeah.
So that's why he's number 8. Number 7, we have George Clooney, because yes, those interpretations are just
I mean, the Poison Ivy is fine.
Yeah.
That's very close to it. It's just not a good movie.
yeah, Freeze and Bane, not great.
Not good.
Number 6, we have Adam West. Fun, campy, but totally ridiculous. I don't really fault him for that, but it just when you think of Batman, it's
like,
just silly.
But
there's all of them.
But even earlier, we were like doing a penguin impression, and we went,
Yeah.
and that comes from Adam West. That's
So kudos to them.
but you're number 6. Fucked.
Number 5, we have Val Kilmer's.
Yeah.
Not
good.
Not good, but
I would switch Adam West in this one because at least the Adam West ones are accurate.
I think what makes these number 5 for me is I think Jim Carrey and Tommy Lee Jones seem to be having so much fun being up there and ridiculous that the villains kind of outshine Batman in his own movie. And I think, yes, they are bad, but I think it's a fun enough watch. Like, you and I could watch that movie and have a good time, even though we recognize it's a bad film and these are kind of bad interpretations of the characters. Number 4, I have Robert Pattinson, and it's number 4 because, well, one, Riddler's great, but you also don't. It's the first one. There's time to.
But it's a great Catwoman. It's a great Penguin.
Yeah, it could go up or down, but it's a solid start. Number 3, we have Michael Keaton.
Yeah.
Iconic characters, all done really well. No complaints really. Number 2, we have Bale.
Yeah.
Because I mean, if you could argue which Joker's better, Heath Ledger's iconic.
Yeah.
One of the greatest performances in a movie, not just a superhero movie of all time.
But it's Scarecrow is great, and that Two-Face is just perfect.
Yeah. Villains across the board work within the world. Like the Two-Face is probably the most silly in terms of it's a guy with half of his face missing and still alive and not getting infections and that whatever. He's only really alive like that for like 2-3 days.
Yeah.
But man, just across the board they get the villains so right, and they all have a purpose. They're not doing something for the sake of just doing it, with the exception of Joker, but that's his shtick. But I mean, they all
isn't great, but it works.
I love all the villains in there. Number 1, Kevin Conroy, of course.
Yeah.
Animated series is a little unfair, but They did
There's
them all right.
40 villains, and they're all get multiple chances to shine. And even if they have a bad episode, they have another good one.
Yeah.
I mean, Clayface has like 4 episodes by himself.
Mhm.
So, yeah,
So that's where no one can beat
no
that
one can beat that.
miniseries. Yeah.
Yeah, and Mark Hamill as the Joker, which kind of
Greatest Joker. All right. And we're on to our last category.
himself.
Batman.
So and you could take a lot of things in. Like I'm going to factor in Christian Bale's voice as being one of the most annoying things, and that's going to hurt his Batman. His suit hurts his Batman. Um, so Christian Bale's pretty low for me. I just don't think he's all that great as a Batman. George Clooney's low. Kilmer's low. I've always said Kevin Conroy is the best Batman, but he's never had to be Batman. You put the cape and cowl on him, and it's gonna look ridiculous. And so many people have great voices for Batman, but he's been able to do it time after countless series and games. He's just the best Batman because he's able to do that Batman and Bruce Wayne voice so perfectly without sounding ridiculous. Like he is doing a dark and deep voice, but he doesn't sound like a goof. Um, Everybody else is pretty good, I'd say. But I'm gonna say my least favorite is Bale.
Okay.
Yeah, if he's in your top 3, I'm fucking rocking your shit.
I gotta change something.
Oops, I made a mistake.
So number 8, Clooney.
Yeah,
Not really his fault.
bad in the suit, and
Yeah.
and like because he has 2 suits in his movie, and one's like like especially in those last 2, the Joel Schumacher ones, it was very much the Arctic Electro Batman, just so they can sell a toy,
Yeah.
and then it's like Magma Fist Super Punch, and it's like what? Does Batman have a Magma Fist suit? That doesn't make any sense. But it was just to sell toys, and they even said when they were making the movie, we're just making a big toy commercial. And when he has that kind of weird bluish gray suit at the end, it looks kind of dumb.
Mm.
But his suit from the beginning isn't bad. And once he opens his mouth, he doesn't sound like Batman. It's just very strange.
Number 7, Adam West. Just from a silliness standpoint, this isn't like if you see this guy running down the street, you don't think he's gonna save the day. You think he's gonna just jump in front of a car and get himself killed. Like clearly, this man is insane.
He is wearing his underpants on the outside.
Yeah, his suit serves no protection whatsoever.
Yeah.
It's all just spandex.
Mm-mm.
So
Ugly cowl.
yeah, but he gets a +1 because he has a Robin.
Yeah.
And people on this list have a Robin.
That's true.
So that's why he's number 7. Number 6, we have Val Kilmer. Kind of falls in the same range of Clooney,
Mm-hmm.
just not really his fault, but better Bruce Wayne than he is Batman.
Yeah.
Yeah, just middle of the road fine. Number 5 is controversial. Kevin Conroy.
Oh.
Yeah, I have Kevin Conroy because I think he is the voice of Batman without a doubt. Number 1 across the board. His suit, it looks kind of like the Adam West one. It doesn't look like it offers any real protection.
Sure.
Uh,
But with animation, like you don't need to get shot. You can dodge bullets.
so, eh, and
So do you have Clooney above Connor?
no, Clooney was the worst one.
Oh, he was. Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the fact that he's animated, the fact that his suit isn't all that impressive. Like it's an iconic suit from the comics that they transferred to animated series. It's fine. And in terms of fighting crime, he's got good moments. I love all the explosion on the show. The explosions look devastating, but his fight scenes aren't always all that great.
I don't know who the fuck you're talking about. Whatever.
It's been a while since I've seen the show. I'm sorry. I came up with this list 3 hours ago.
Okay.
All right. Number 4, Michael Keaton.
Huh?
Solid Batman.
Mhm.
Definitely set the tone for all the Batmans to come.
Yeah.
Had the benefit of going first, but also because he had the benefit of going first, he didn't. I think people have improved upon where he may have faltered.
Sure.
But
especially in the suit. Like those first few suits are just a big one piece rubber thing.
yeah.
And he has to lean back to look up, and he has to swing his whole body around to look over his shoulder. And I wish they would have improved on that with the Joel Schumacher ones. Like they always got better detailing, and it was a cleaner look, but they never got the articulation until the Nolan ones, which has the articulation, but it's so like the cape is a different black from the helmet, which is a different black from the suit. It's like it doesn't match properly.
I think in the third one is when he really like blends well together. I feel like that's all just the same color black. Anyway, all right, number 3 we have Ben Affleck. While a lot of people would say they don't love this Batman because he does murder people, I'm okay with it a little bit. It's not the version I necessarily prefer, but in this world, I'm fine with it.
In this world, Batman kills.
And I think that in terms of someone who uses gadgets to his fullest effect, who fights Superman,
has a great suit.
Yeah.
Short-eared is great.
Great Iron Man suit. Definitely taking from...
Great Iron Man suit?
Yeah, the Great Iron Man suit.
Okay.
That he uses to fight Superman. I think he is someone who... like you would fear him without him necessarily branding you with his bat symbol or whatever. Like him in that warehouse scene, just taking down dudes, like punching them through the floor, just really cool Batman, really menacing. And I like that he, we talked about Pattinson being the slim version. This is the buff version.
Yeah.
I like both versions. And I think he's a really awesome Batman who I would have loved to have seen in a Batman film.
Okay.
At number 2, I'm sorry, but it's Bale.
No.
The voice I have no problem with. I think he is the best of all the worlds collectively. He might fall short on some things. Maybe his suit's not the best, or maybe his car's not the best, or whatever. But across the board, he's at top 2, top 3 in everything. And I think collectively, as the Batman, there's probably no one better. Except now this might just be from seeing it so recently and being a real big fan of it, but Robert Pattinson's Batman is my favorite Batman so far.
It's pretty great.
Yeah, I love his version. I love how menacing he is. I love the look of the suit.
I was talking about the suit and I mentioned it before, but the thing that really ties it all together is that collar. That collar
is awesome.
It really is so cool, and he has a great cowl. He just looks so amazing. I'm so impressed with that suit.
Pattinson is my favorite.
Okay. Wow. And so you've tallied these
I've tallied them
and given every, point system for all of them. So who is number 8 worst Batman of all time?
So of the 8 categories, 5 of them were at number 8. We have Adam West with 56 points.
Which I think for a lot of people would say is sacrilegious. He came first. It's classic. It's not, how do you compare? Because it's so different. But
I was born 20 years or something like that after the show came out. I didn't grow up on it. I've seen enough of it. I know what it is, and it's just not the version of Batman I'm used to. If you have a fondness for it of it in your heart, nostalgia, whatever, I get it. I understand it. But this Batman would not exist in the real world, and if he did, he would die on the first day.
And he's not just how we see Batman now. Maybe at that time it worked, but not anymore.
Not for me. At number 7 with 49 points, we have George Clooney.
Yep.
Number 6 with 45 points, we have Ben Affleck.
Oh, okay.
It was lower than I
thought that would have been Vel Kilmer right there.
With 35 points is Val Kilmer. His Bruce and his Gotham and his Cave all kind of saved him. Those were higher up on the list. He only had 1 7, and that was his gadgets. Okay. But once again, I didn't really remember the gadgets so well.
We probably should have rewatched all these movies.
We should have had a 20-hour Batman marathon.
Yeah, that's what we should have done. Fuck seeing the new Batman. We should have done that for your bachelor party.
All right. That was number 5 was Val Kilmer. At number 4, we have Robert Pattinson with 31 points.
Okay.
I expect him to be higher up on the list as long as they keep this quality of film coming. But the thing holding him back, he's just too new.
Yeah.
At number 3, we have Kevin Conroy. could argue that he's number one, but
Mm-hmm.
I gave him
Mm-hmm.
points down
Mm-hmm.
just from having the advantage of being animated.
Yeah.
At number two, Michael Keaton with 23 points.
God damn it.
Yeah, I'm sorry, man.
But he's not. Okay, go
And
on.
then at number one, just beating Keaton by 2 points, Christian Bale.
Wow. And it's like, obviously, if I made my own list, mine would come out a little different. I think some of your rankings on some of them were way off and would have totally thrown things completely different.
But you're more of a savant when it comes to memorizing these things. I haven't seen a lot of these movies in 10 plus years.
Well, I'm disappointed. I would say Christian Bale would be like my four. I would say it goes uh um animated. Thank you. It would go Kevin Conroy, and then Michael Keaton, then Robert Pattinson, and then probably Bale, I guess, maybe, because the movies are pretty good, you know.
The movies are great.
It's just he's not great. So, but yeah,
Disagree.
yeah, but your list is fine, I guess.
For a list you asked me to do last night that
Yeah.
I came up with without rewatching any of these things,
Yeah,
I think it's solid.
yeah. Okay. Well, I'll have to live with it, I guess. So be
You have
it.
to live with anything. You can make the list. I made the list.
Okay. Well, before we wrap it up, you got anything else you want to say about Batman? Any Batman at any time?
Uh, in the world of superhero movies and the past 20 years ruling the box office, one character reigns supreme for me, and that is Batman. He is my favorite superhero comic book character, uh, film series in terms of superheroes. I love this character. Even the worst iterations of him, I think, are watchable. Just because whether it be he's got the best rogues gallery. I mean, anything I say about Batman has already been said a billion times.
Yep.
Best villains, arguably best suit, just coolest character. Would I want to be Batman? Absolutely not.
Nah.
Well, I'd be Bruce Wayne.
It'd be Bruce Wayne, yeah. Yep.
I have no desire to be Batman, but I love Batman with very much my heart, and I'm happy to see that after all this time, he's still going strong, and they're finding new ways to do cool things with him. And I hope that never stops. Although I don't need to see a new Batman every 3 years,
Yeah.
I'm happy that people still love this character, and we're still seeing new things. And congratulations, Robert Pattinson,
Yeah.
on an awesome, great film, and Matt Reeves. Please make more and make them just as great as this one.
Yeah. Here's hoping the next one will be good, and I'm excited to come back and talk about that, and then hypothesize what the third one will be about once we have a little more context. So
maybe down the line we'll collectively put our thoughts together on what our ultimate Batman pitch movie story.
Sure, yeah.
Do a this meets that, but a collector's edition. I don't know what you would call it.
It's hard to pitch something that's new. Every story seems to have been done in some way or another.
I mean, we probably should have talked about it earlier, but I like your Mad Hatter pitch, at least for the first scene of the movie.
Yeah.
So hopefully we get to see some of that.
Yeah, and it'd be easy to put like the Mad Hatter as he's part of the Court of Owls, but they want him out because like you're doing some shady shit that we don't like. I mean, maybe we could get our thoughts together and pitch a really fleshed out part two, because we just said Court of Owls or something.
Yeah. Well, or even if it's not a Batman film, maybe we just pitch a Batman series.
Okay.
And then just do the villains we want to see and do it however we want.
Good.
Maybe it's animated, so we can get Clayface in there. Maybe it's not. Maybe we go full CG and go, all right, what they did with Sandman and No Way Home, we'll do with.
Yeah. Hey, maybe the next thing is doing like what Spider-Verse did. Let's do animated Batman movies like that are really high end CG and not just 2D hand drawn animation. Yes.
Real quick, I will say, DC Super Pets or whatever.
Oh god.
Fuck you. I saw the trailer for the first time the other day. Fuck you.
Yeah. Why does Batman look like that? Why does he have such a thick neck? I hated that so much.
I like Kevin Hart and I like The Rock, but Jesus Christ, how much stuff do I need to see them in?
Yeah.
And they're the pets of the. Oh, God, I don't fucking care.
Yeah. It seems awful, and I hope it tanks.
Ugh.
Well, that's our Batman talk. We liked it. And what did you think about Batman? What do you want to see from it? Are you happy the Joker's coming? Do you want to see Mr. Freeze? Well, hit us up. You could reach us on Twitter at WRPL Podcast, or if you want to email us, it's WRPLpodcast@gmail.com. I'm Ben.
And I'm Steve, and Christian Bale is the best Batman.
Yeah.
DC Super Pets or whatever.
Oh, God.
Fuck you.